Alright guys, today we're going to replace a Weathermatic valve. Customer called me, said there was water coming down from the valve. As you guys can see, and you saw the clip before, the valve is cracked from under. Made a big hole at the bottom. That's because the pressure is very high here. You're running at a line of 1.5 inch PVC. So what we're going to do today, we're going to replace the whole valve. You can get away from replacing sometimes just the diaphragm. When you open these screws, take all that out, change the diaphragm, and then you can just work with the same valve. But in this case, the valve is cracked from the bottom. So we have to replace the valve, the whole entire body. All right, there's a Weathermatic 1 inch female, and 1 inch female in the front. All right, so here we go. And today I'm going to teach you how to keep the mulch and the dirt separate. And if you have any questions, let me know. All right, so we're going to start working. Here we go. You want to always separate the mulch. The reason being, you want to be able to put everything back neatly, so we make it look like nothing ever happened here. Okay. It's always better to dig more than you need. It comes out better. Digging. Put the valve cover back on, just so we don't get much dirt into the valves. All right, now that we have it all uncovered, what we're going to need, what we need here is going to be a valve, of course. Female, has to be female. And we need a male adapter, which is 1 inch to 1.25 inch bar. Clamps, of course, stainless steel clamps. Do not use the screw ones from Home Depot or Plumbing Supply. What happens over the years, well, actually during the season, what's going to happen, the screw clamp will rust, break, and then you'll have to replace the whole thing again. So I mean, as you saw, it's quite a journey getting down there, especially this valve that was pretty deep. You don't want to do that 2 times in the same season, so it's just better to put the right stuff in. If you have any questions where to get any of these materials, leave a comment. I'll get to you ASAP. I don't want you spending too much money somewhere else. I want to help you guys. I want to teach you how to do it, how to save money, what parts you need. Any questions, feel free to leave any comments. All right, here we go. We're gonna start repairing this thing. First thing we need to do is let's cut this pipe so we can spin the valve off. Alright, so you got to give yourself some space because you're going to have to work with this pipe, reconnecting it with a coupling. Alright, when you cut the pipe, use what we call pipe cutters. Don't use any kind of saw. Reason being, when you start using a saw and you cut the poly, it creates pieces that can go into the pipe, and if you let them go in, they will go into the line, into the sprinkler lines, then into the fittings, and of course into the sprinkler heads. What happens then? You clog the heads, you create yourself more problems, and you know, you'll have to start taking the nozzles off, flushing the whole line off. So it's just better to do it neatly with a nice cut. As you can see, it's better, use the pipe cutter, nice clean cut, nothing goes into the line. It will prevent more work. All right, now what we're going to do here, we're going to disconnect the wires. Just going to cut them off. Cut them off. What I like to do, so I don't lose the wires, obviously you see this mess here, we're going to clean it all up. Just tie them together. That way you remember those are the wires. Move them to the side so they don't bother you. Start using the channel lock. Remember, lefty loosey, righty tighty. Start unscrewing the valve off. One thing I didn't have to do in this situation was dig under the valve. I always recommend digging under the valve so that way you can spin the whole valve off. Some people like to take the solenoid off this part. This is the solenoid, so it gives you less digging. But the problem with that is you can put stuff in the valve. It's going to be more messier. Not this valve, the new valve you're going to be installing. That's where you get the dirt in. This, I mean, you can put dirt all you want in there, but you know, it doesn't make a difference. But I just want to avoid you putting dirt into the new valve. If you were to take the solenoid off and you took it off with no solenoid, when you put it back on, when it's spinning, you're going to get some dirt in there. You don't want to do that. This solenoid needs to be very, very clean. All right. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to put some Teflon on. I like to hold it there and spin it. You have to go to the right. Always go to the right. So when you screw in the valve, instead of the tape coming off, what would happen, the tape is actually going to get it's actually going to go in between the threads. Very good. All right, you start sticking the valve in. You got to go slow. It's not a race. Hand tighten it first. Keep spinning. As you see here, see how there's some dirt going on all over the place? If you were to have that solenoid off, or actually I even seen people who take the whole top off and just screw it with the bottom piece. You could get dirt in there. Believe me, you do not want to get dirt in there, pebbles, any of that stuff. Use the channel lock. It starts getting harder. All right. We do not use PVC glue or anything here for the threads. Just Teflon. It will not leak. 100% it will not leak. And never go all the way to the fitting. What can happen, at the moment you won't see the problem. You can screw it all the way in, but what would happen eventually, you'll start creating a crack here. The fittings would expand, will expand, and you'll start seeing a crack here, and then it can break, bust, and then you're gonna have to replace the whole valve again. So you have to give it some wiggle room. All right. Now that's all installed. In this case, we can actually still use the other piece that we took off, which is a male adapter. All right, it's a male adapter to barb, 1.25 inches. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to create myself a miniature power wash, just so we can keep it clean. Use a water bottle, get a little hole in there with the cutter. and then just a little bit bigger actually. Get any dirt off that piece. Alright, pretty clean. And you're gonna do the same thing. Teflon to the right. Actually, I still see some dirt there. Do the same thing for the Teflon. Get it in there. What you can also do, use your nail. Follow the thread. For the first few threads, so that way it's stuck in there real good. That way you won't have a problem when you put it in for the first threads. After that, you can do it with the channel lock. Can't rush this, man. There you go. Grab the channel lock. Hold the valve though. Try to make it spin too much. And again, same thing, you don't have to go all the way in. What will happen, you can crack the valve, it will break, and you'll be doing this all over again. Alright, now what we're going to do, we're going to reconnect this. Okay, so what we're going to use here, we're going to use a coupling. All right, yes, this is 1 1/4 inch. It's way harder than 3/4 pipe or 1 inch pipe. It's harder. So give yourself some try to measure it out. There you go. Calculate, make sure it's in. A little bit more. Put the clamps in first. I like to use in every connection when it's 1 1/4 inch. I mean, some people can do 1 clamp. I like to do 2 clamps on these cases. After the valve, I like to use 3 clamps. If they're using 1 1/4 inch line, that means the pressure is very strong here. You don't want to risk it. Now we're going to use a torch. What we're going to do, we're going to heat up both ends so that way it goes in easier. Alright, so we're going to heat this side. Alright. Stick this in there. Alright, so now we're going to clean up all these wires. I've already separated them, so I know which ones go to where. The reason I did that is because you have to look closely. When you start rewiring the system, you have to look closely, because sometimes you see here, red to gray. People tend to change the colors at some point in different valve boxes. So for example, let's say you go to the control unit and you say zone 1 is the red wire. Well, if you follow all the valve boxes and you're looking for red wire, sometimes they can change it red to gray. The other ones were changed as well. Here you have orange to brown. Here is blue, white, red. Those are okay, but you know, people change the colors. That can mess up the whole setting. It can get you very confused. All right, so we're gonna start rewiring, and this is like this is bad. When you do sprinklers, if you look in there, with all the moisture that you have in the dirt and the water, you will create rust in between the wires that will make it fail. So one day, let's say you wake up, you see a section of your grass drying. It could be because of these connections. Very simple to fix, and it can definitely avoid you a lot of problems. You don't have to call anyone to repair that. So we're going to clean it all up. We're going to get rid of these bad connections. Never use electrical tape. This is not inside the house. I mean, some electricians use it for the inside, but here in sprinkler, we don't do that. Clean out the wire, strip it, and what I highly recommend, and everyone will tell you this, waterproof wire nuts. They're sealed, they have silicone inside. Turn it a little bit, stick it in there, turn it. Now you have a clean, nice, clean wire connection. Now, as you can see, it comes from the control unit into the solenoid wire directly there. Clean cut, rather than having two connections and then you don't know where you're going to lose the voltage. All right. And now I'm going to change all of them. Again, the reason is because these connections. There's no reason to have these. All right. So here we go. Alright guys, once we're all done with that, with the wire connections and replacing the valve, we're positioning the valve box in there. What I did, I slide it over a little bit to my right, so that way in case I have to do any service on those valves or those wires, it's easier to get in there rather than having the valve up against the valve box up against the valve, and you're not going to have any space to work. So now we're going to cover it up. We're all done and we're going to clean it up, make it look like nothing happened here. Now we're going to show you how everything looks. Valve box. You can cover it as long as you remember where the valve box is, or you can leave it uncovered. It's really up to the customer. They want it. Show you what it looks like. We're all set. That's it. Alright, so guys, there you go. This is changing a Weathermatic valve. If you guys need help on any kind of valve, Eritro, Toro, Hunter, so many out there, different models, let me know. I'll make a video. If you need help with anything, diaphragms, any troubleshooting, let me know. All right, and that's what it looks like.